The main thing I want to work on in my classroom right now is specific feedback. I want to have my students be able to apply the feedback that I give them and know exactly what they are doing right or wrong. This video is at the very beginning of my journey into specific feedback. I made this goal at the start of my new semester. My associate and I decided upon mainly working on the positive feedback aspect, but also being more specific with the constructive criticism. We have been slowly working toward this goal the past 2 weeks, knowing that it might take some time to master. In this video clip, we are in the middle of making a foldable over decimal operations. This foldable is similar to the one on the screen. We were just coming back from break and I knew my students would need some type of refresher over the different operations that we learned. This gave them a chance to have all their notes in one place. Before this next clip took place, I had set up the foldable and explained what we were going into, and we were doing the example for how to multiply decimals. And so the students were filling it out, and we were beginning the process of reviewing what it looked like to set up a problem with decimals and multiplication.
Dylan, you have to line up the decimals. Can anybody use some mechanical talk? Oh, you would have to. Oh, you're okay. Oh, we should be listening to Yair.
You don't have to line up the decimals, but you have to put the decimal. So the fourth will right under the 5.
So we don't line up our decimals. We line it up like we would a normal multiplication problem. So it's our.
So the main thing that happened in this video was I called upon Dylan to answer the question that I had asked. He had an incorrect response, so I prompted another student to correct that response. And then I took off from Yair's point, and I built upon that to discuss what it looked like with my class for multiplying decimals. When looking at the watch your behavior chart, one of the first things I noticed as I was filling it out was that this was not a classroom of high rigor in this instant. And that was really something that stood out to me, and it was something that stood out in the TLAC chapter as well. You can tell this comes in with the students engaged in a high-level conversation, and they're interested in learning the activities in class. Another piece that stood out to me as I was looking at this chart was that for the most part, students interacted really respectfully with each other. There were some that were talking over each other, but for the most part, they were using their accountable talk, which we know about, and they were interacting in a respectful way that allowed every person to talk. Though this was not the most engaging activity in my classroom, I think it was necessary for the part that we were in reviewing decimals and needing to keep our facts straight. And though it was not as engaging as it could have been, the students were still doing what they were supposed to be doing for the most part, which was encouraging to see. I don't believe that this is a prime example of what it looks like to show specific feedback, and I kind of want to address that within this video. So, for example, there were 2 students who answered, and I don't think I gave either one of them the feedback that they deserved for the answer that they gave. When I look more in depth into Dylan's answer specifically, was I didn't really say anything after he answered to him. I asked the class if they could come up with something to say to Dylan, but there was no feedback on my part encouraging Dylan or saying something to get him thinking even more so that he could apply that. And so that was one of the main problems with Dylan's answer. Yair was able to give the correct answer and use accountable talk in the process. And there was no feedback from me saying that that was correct and that he was doing what he was supposed to. And so this was really thought-provoking to me on how I can encourage students who give the correct answer and who give incorrect answers, and to show them that they're doing something correctly. Overall, one of the big things that I have taken away from this video is just showing me what I need to improve upon. Knowing that I want to improve upon specific feedback is a really good start. And now I just have to find a way to keep it in mind as I go throughout my lesson so that I am able to give those students the feedback that they need to be successful. When I was looking back upon this video, I realized that I don't remember the feedback that I gave in the moment. And so one of the things I want to start doing is finding maybe something to keep at the back of the room or up front with me to just tally when I do give specific feedback so that I can keep that in the forefront of my mind as I am doing the lesson. When I can start modeling for my students what that specific feedback looks like, then they are more able to apply that when they are responding to somebody. And so Yair would be able to give that specific feedback to Dylan, but before that happens, I have to be able to do that in my own classroom.